Die E3 2015 wird gesponsert von gamecoachshop.de, euer Online-Shop für PSN-Cards, PlayStation Games und PS Plus Abos.
So, hallo vom dritten Tag von der E3. Heute ist der letzte Tag und heute sind wir bei Activision und ich habe hier Mike Zack, Art Director von Destiny, und wir sind hier, um ein bisschen zu plaudern. Hi Mike.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Good to be here.
Thank you very much for your time that you've offered for us. The first question that we would like to ask and to give our community, the Taken King is coming quite soon.
It is.
What is the essence? What would you say is the new thing besides the add-ons and the DLC that has already been released? How's this one different?
Sure. Well, the Taken King is a major expansion, and for us it's kicking off year 2. So the big beats that we're talking about right now at E3, we're taking you to a brand new destination, the Hive Dreadnought, which is Oryx, the Taken King's mothership. It's like a castle in the sky. We've got a brand new campaign that features Oryx and his new army of Taken combatants. They represent a brand new set of enemies to fight with new mechanics, and then of course the new super abilities for each of the classes.
Okay. About the new enemies that we'll encounter in Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
To be frank, since the launch of the main game, there has not been a very high increase of enemy types in the Destiny universe, and the Taken seemed like a good opportunity to enter a complete new faction to the fight.
Yeah.
And right now it seems to be blunt, like a reskinned version with
Sure.
some slight modifications. What is your reasoning, and can you convince me if my point of view is wrong at that point?
Well, I think the best way to convince you is to put a controller in your hands and have you play. All the combatants have new mechanics, so we felt like now is the time to offer players a challenge that was probably tilted towards more difficulty than that we've previously exposed them to. So take for example the Scion, which is a classic Year 1 combatant. Oryx takes the Scion and he pulls him out of our dimension. He converts him to his will and gives him new abilities, puts him back in our universe with this corrupted presentation. Previously, if you saw a Scion in an encounter space, you saw him there and there was a boss, you'd say, maybe I'll deal with him later. But if you ignore him now, he'll split into 2, and then they'll split into 2, and that'll keep happening. So all of a sudden you have a new strategic imperative. You need to be paying attention to that guy. You need to, take that squad and kill them before they multiply.
Okay.
At the same time, in comes a Taken Phalanx. Before, as long as you can avoid his weapon fire, no big deal. But now his shield, which was previously just defensive, has a physical blast that pushes you physically around the space.
Mm-hmm. So
now all of a sudden you've got to deal with getting pushed around the space by this Phalanx. At the same time, trying to manage the Scions that are splitting.
Okay. From an art perspective, when creating the Taken, did you start with a vision how the corrupted form should look like, and then try to put that form onto the existing enemies or on the existing people, or did you take the existing ones and try to modify them?
Yeah, we had this image when we were talking about the fiction behind the Taken and what that power would mean for Oryx. We use words like having their will erased, and so we thought of this sort of bleeding out of all the color and bleeding out of the personality, and then giving them this. That's where we get sort of the gradient look, the white to black and the tortured sort of flame. Then we started playing with the mechanics of what kind of abilities do we imagine them have, and there was a back and forth between design and art. We experimented with different shader effects and different animations and performances. It went back and forth to arrive at what we've got now.
You mentioned the new location. We have many fans in our readers, we have fans in our teams, and we know that they all are asking, when will we see a new location on Earth? It will not be that DLC, right? Or not not extend
on Earth.
Yeah.
Well, the Dreadnought is not on Earth. It is a giant spaceship.
Yeah.
And it's a full-size destination. And when I say that, I mean it supports all of our activities. So it supports, story missions, strikes, patrols, public events, a raid. So in that respect, it represents the biggest piece of new territory to explore. Okay. But we are also expanding in some areas. For example, in the coming war, you saw Phobos, which was previously just floating up in the sky of Mars. Well, now that's a location, and there's a few other areas in a few places that we're going to explore.
If you take the size of the area and the things to do on the Dreadnought in mind, can you compare it to an existing location to give a feeling about how big this new location will be?
Yeah, I think it's equivalent in size. I think it fits in the category of the first 4 big destinations.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one question that I was thinking for weeks about to get a grip on, and I would like to ask your opinion about that thing, because it's there seems to be a strange disparity between media and fans on Destiny. This is
right.
my point of view. When you're looking at Metacritic, the Metacritic scores of the Destiny game on the different platforms in the DLCs are in the 70s and the 60s,
sure.
which seems not to be too high. On the other hand, we have millions of fans who love the game and play it every day. Have you any kind of idea what is going on there?
I mean, I spend all my time working on the game, and the people I listen to are the people who play the game. I've met tons of them at E3. We read about their opinions online on the forums. We have tons of research. We look at player behavior, and we talk all the time about how can we serve our fans, and that's what's most important to us for sure. Personally, I love reading criticism too. I think there's always something to learn from everything, but as far as trying to understand any disparity, really what we care about is making the game better.
I know that you're focusing now on the next item, the extension of the Taken King that is quite around the door. Could you still give us a slight look into the future, what we can expect next in the Destiny universe?
Well, right now we're really focused on the Taken King. I'm afraid. And in fact, there's a lot more beyond what we're showing at E3 to reveal throughout the summer on the Taken King itself. So.
Okay. Could you give us a small look into the story of the Taken King, what is happening in the game, and how the game will tell it to the players?
Yeah. So the main premise of the story is that Oryx has come to our system with this new power and with this new army. And as people may know, Oryx is the father of Crota, who the Guardians killed many times in the Dark Below. So he's here for revenge, and he's here for revenge with, a very serious threat. So that threat, I think, places the Guardians and the Vanguard in a position where they need to figure out how to deal with it. So it gives us opportunities to explore the characters in the tower and, present them in a way where their personalities, come into play in terms of how they deal with this. And the Taken King will show that to players through cinematics as well. Our campaign is supported with cinematics, as well as all the other channels that we're exploring for storytelling, in the campaign and the environment, things like that.
There will be a new level cap in the Taken King?
Players will progress, and they will grow more powerful, but we're not going into details of the numbers.
Okay. Could you give us a hint if the players are not progressing more, if the content that already exists should be adjusted or has to be adjusted so that it not becomes easier? For example, the raids, that they do not become easier for the new players who are taking on the Taken King.
Yeah, we're not going into specifics about that. I mean, we're always looking at opportunities for, taking content, making it fresh, using it in new ways, or giving people, brand new content.
Any last words for our community, which are looking forward to the new add-on?
I really hope that they enjoy the Taken King. We're working really hard on it, and we're excited for people to play it in September.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Die E3 2015 wird gesponsert von GameCodeShop.de, euer Online-Shop für PSN-Cards, PlayStation Games und PS Plus Abos.